Hey, Brandon,
Hey Brant,
is the sky falling?
isn't it always?
Kind of feels like it, no? Like on if you scroll through Twitter, and if you're a Leaf fan, kind of feels like the sky is falling, no?
I feel like I've been Chicken Little for the last like 2 years. I've
Yeah,
just been running around telling
constantly. I'm
everyone.
just avoiding the sky hitting me in the head for 2 years now.
Yeah,
Um, it's rough. I I look at it like this: if you went out 1 week, you got in a car accident, you broke your leg, you got put in a cast. Obviously, you had a shit week, right? It sucks. A lot of bad things happen in that week, right? But then 2 weeks later, you win the lottery. I would say your year went pretty well, no? Like, yeah, you broke your leg, you got in a car accident, but hey, you're a few $1 million richer. That's a good thing, right?
are you assuming that upon breaking your leg, you just get addicted to scratch tickets and that's it?
Maybe you're just bored. You're just buying lottery tickets in the
I've hit
house.
the lottery.
Hey,
Yep.
you won the lottery. Maybe you had it and then, yeah, may you played the lottery, you won. That's a
There
good
you go.
year,
Good for
right?
you.
So why don't we look at sports the same way? Why is it that like a bad 2 weeks comes through and you're like, this team sucks. They're not going to win. Like the sky is falling. But we don't look at the year. We just look at every sport. It's like little 2 week periods, and it's just like that was a terrible 2 weeks. That's what this team is every time.
I
Jays,
think
Leafs, Raptors, doesn't matter.
people have the wrong idea because in life, apparently, when you meet somebody within the
Mhm.
first 10 minutes, you know whether you're gonna like them or not.
Right.
Just right away, you
Mhm.
already know. This apparently is the same thing. It's just under 10 games. Let's go with six. It's seven, maybe. We'll keep it low out of an 82 game season.
Sure. Sure.
And then just yeah, it's awful.
I wouldn't even say it's 7 games. Like realistically, they've played what? Four? Four bad games, I would say, out of the seven. They played 3 good games. The game against
For
Montreal
sure.
was a slow start, but they won.
But out of total games played, like there's just like how can you make an educated decision off of
Like, yeah, we've been
seven
bad for
games or
5 years. I get it. They haven't
right.
won a first round. You can't tell me this is the same team as last year or the year before that or the year before that. Like, it's the core is the same. Yes. Mitch Marner looks terrible. Yes. Austin Matthews got
You
off to a slow start.
but
Yes.
you just got him back. He scored. He was the
Yeah.
only goal scorer against Carolina.
Yeah. They're
So
leading the league in scoring chances and high danger scoring chances. Like, this can only be this bad for so long. And if it is, who cares? Like, where were the people at the end of last year? They're like, yeah, this is it for me. I'm not watching this. The regular season doesn't matter. Those people are very high on the regular season all of a sudden. It went from the regular season doesn't matter to this team is the worst team in the NHL because they're having a bad start to the regular season. What the hell happened?
it's not even like especially at the beginning of the year, you're not out of any race
No,
at all.
God,
Like
they were
it's
in a
just
playoff spot 2 days ago.
right. So I don't get why this
What are we
big
doing?
panic and the give up has already happened and almost like you gotta prove to me
Yeah,
why you should be a fan base still. Toronto Maple Leafs have always been like that though. It's always expected like that,
yeah.
especially from coming off of like a year where you were
You
first in the
should have won.
division. Yeah, but you were
At least
first
a
in the
round.
division. And people will still say that, right? In the offseason, you still hear like, well, we still should compete because we were first in the division last year. So,
Mhm.
we have some talent, which is for sure, but you also have a much different team. You're going to go through some growing pains, right? We've
Absolutely.
seen a lot of teams
Absolutely.
that made big moves and go through a lot of changes that are absolutely struggling, right?
Man, Tampa's near the bottom. Colorado's near the bottom.
Dude, even
Montreal,
the
who was in the finals last year, is what, third last now?
their
Chicago made
last
all these
their
moves and
last
they're not
yeah,
doing
even
well.
even the Kraken, they have one game and their roster that's completely just been put together.
Mhm.
Like this is their first year, so it's so tough
It's so
to
early. And
just
like, if you
base the
look at the
whole
way,
season.
yeah, if you look at the way the lineup was constructed too, like they had Nick Ritchie in the first line. I don't think Nick Ritchie's a first line forward. And they were just trying to figure out if that would work. It didn't work, clearly. So they moved him down. There's obviously legitimate concerns with this team. Mitch Marner has disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what started this, but he's not the same Mitch Marner we saw 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. There's something weird there. That's a legitimate concern. There's one starting goaltender on this team right now because Peter Mrazek's out. That's a legitimate concern. Jake Muzzin looks like garbage this year. That's a legitimate concern. But like to tell me that, oh, this team has no heart and they don't play with drive and all this garbage, like that argument only matters when they lose. You never see a team win and they go, that team played with no heart.
it's really tough too if you know that if you lose, your fan base is basically just taking a giant step backwards with
Yeah,
you, and to the point
yeah,
where 7 games in, 8 games in, it's kind of already been decided that the season's done.
it's done. You're over. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming
like,
out.
oh, this is exactly what we thought the team would be. The
Yeah,
team would be plagued with injuries, which like every team is.
sure.
And this is going to be a year where you'll probably see a lot more injuries because it's a longer season,
Mhm.
and
It was bad
it's
enough last year.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't like. I think that they still have a couple pieces to find within the organization to
Yeah.
to match chemistry with each other. It's tough when you start a game, like when you start a season without your all-star,
Hmm.
and when he comes back, even fitting him back in there, like that's
Exactly.
looks away from other guys, that's touches away from other guys. So
Hmm.
so it's understood for sure, but it's different, right?
Yeah.
It's different than the games you've been playing before because you were trying to make up for the fact that he wasn't there.
Exactly.
And
And
uh,
go ahead.
their defense. I think defensively too. I think they need to make that their big go get. Especially if they're struggling this way right now. Like the
There's a,
inability to protect around the front of the net. Take it from a Chicago fan. I've watched it time and time again. What happens when you do not have an ability to
yeah.
protect the front of the net and you leave your goalie out to dry? And Jack Campbell is for sure capable of saves. He's not capable of every save
Yeah.
all the time, and neither is the people behind him. Right, like the people behind him, absolutely, like you said, like past Jack Campbell, you have no
There's nothing. Michael
real.
Hutchinson is not a good
Yeah,
goalie.
you have no real NHL goalie. Like
No.
Hutchinson has always been kind of a
He's a
third string goalie or an AHL
Yeah,
goalie
exactly.
because like
He's a
he's there.
great starting AHL goalie. Give him
Right.
credit.
He's there. He also gives you a different look with the glove. I
Sure.
I think they kind of like, it's almost the same thing as throwing in a lefty
Hmm.
for
Yep.
pitching. Like
It's
it
like a
just gives
weird way
you
of starting a lefty on the mound. You're right.
just gives you a different look. That's all it is. But I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think
different.
that Hutchinson is somebody that you can hang your hat on, that if Jack Campbell goes through a
No.
stretch where he struggles.
Because
And
Jack did have a bad game against Pittsburgh,
yeah,
and he let in 4 or 5 after
it,
2, and
mm,
Hutchinson came in and looked just as bad. Like it was not
this
an upgrade.
this will suck because you're gonna need to lose somebody big in order to kind of get yourself out of the position, like the position that the Jays or the Jays. See the Jays. Looking at the Jays sign behind you. Every
All
Toronto team
around.
has this.
Yeah.
The position that the Leafs have kind of put themselves in is that they need to take a bunch of steps back in order to kind of side shuffle over and say we're going to go this way now, right? Like
Yeah.
you've built your team this far, you drafted all the guys, you signed Tavares as your big signing, you paid all the guys you drafted,
Hmm.
and it's not
I
working right now, and you can only
right
do it
now.
for
That's the
so many
key. That's
years.
the key
Right.
word of that is that it's not working right now. And if you don't believe in this core anymore, okay, that's fine. It is what it is, man. Like it's a legitimate concern. This core hasn't got it done, and I understand that. But it's tough to blame it on the core when Austin Matthews is out here winning Rocket Richard trophies and John Tavares is a legitimate captain. Mitch Marner, besides last year's playoffs and the start to this year, has been a ridiculously good hockey player. William Nylander started this year as the best forward on the team, and it wasn't even close.
No.
And like those guys are working. It's just the depth around it just doesn't show up all the time, and they just
And
get tough breaks here every single game.
they don't have the wiggle room for it not to
No,
show up all the time, right?
no,
Like
exactly.
that's where the tough part is, and that's where you kind of need to ask yourself, like, it's great when everything works out. It's amazing when all of your plans of okay, we're going
Absolutely.
to trade for this guy, we're going to sign these guys to the
Yep.
full deals. Like it's amazing when all that works out, but you're watching it not be the smoothest of takeoffs and
Mm-hmm.
not be exactly where everyone thought it would be when the big contracts kicked in. I think when everybody thought these kids were going to get paid big
Yeah.
and go into their big contracts,
Yeah.
that all of a sudden it was going to be, we're third round, close to the Stanley Cup Finals, almost the way that like it happened to Tampa.
Yep.
Like just somehow Tampa was always kind of there. Like I figured Leafs fans were kind of in the same boat.
It seemed like it when they drafted everybody. Like it
It's
seemed like
not,
we'd
but
be
there's
in
a
it, but
lot.
we're
Look
not.
at the
And
changeover that happens too. For sure, your front, your top 5 to 6 guys stayed the same. Your bottom
they've
beyond
changed half
that,
the team every year.
your bottom beyond that, and what you expect from that bottom beyond that,
Mm-hmm.
it changes every single year,
Mm-hmm.
right? It changes from, as you kind of pointed out before, like the old veterans that all the fans want to come in. And now this year, a lot of those guys were gone. Jumbo's gone, Foligno's gone, and they brought in Richie. They brought in Andre Castle. They brought
Kasha,
in,
Camp,
yeah, exactly. Like they
long
brought
list of
in
different
different
names.
different guys, right? Which kind of fit the same like rough and tumble style, but with a lot more age on their side.
Yeah.
So
It's
like it's just you're a new team almost, right? Like you're
yeah,
not
it's a
a
completely
team.
different team.
Yeah, you have
I
to.
I don't know looking at this team what the problem is though. Do you? I can't look at that team and be like, they're not doing this well. Because like outside of the Muzzin and Hall pairing, they're doing a decent job defensively. Like I've had no issues with
Okay, but
Riley Brody or
when
Dermott and Sandine have looked fantastic, which is
when you walk into a game though,
mm-hmm.
does it not feel better walking in with the idea of knowing that no matter what, this is going to be fun? Like last night when they played Carolina, like Carolina walks into every game. Right, but Carolina walks into every game like it's fun. Right now, Carolina is kind of like the bullies of the league with what they did to Montreal and the fact that they had David Ayers. Like
like what they were doing to us. It's like
right. So they're making a statement, but also they had nothing to lose.
No,
they took your goalie. They let the goalie that should never have won an NHL game sound the horn as like a final, like, hey, what's up? And the Leafs walked in having all the pressure because it's like, man, we have to compete, we have to score. And they walk into every game like that. And a lot of these guys, I don't think are ready for that. A lot of these guys,
there's a lot of guys playing in Toronto for the first time.
They don't want that.
It's a different animal, and I hate it.
There's some big, there's some stars out there who can handle it, but you're not really seeing that though, right? Like, can you imagine if there was even a Connor McDavid or Sidney Crosby in this kind of market? Like, as much as we would love to see them,
have one.
Like,
his name's Austin Matthews.
Absolutely. How often is he the one in front of the camera fielding all these questions and dealing with the media and telling people why we're struggling and stuff like that? Like, a lot of those guys couldn't do it.
It's horrible when you get in front of the camera too. Michael Bunting came out and said, what was it? We love each other in here, and we really think we're going to get through it. Like something along those lines. And people shredded him for it.
Right.
Like, what the hell, man? Like, why can't he just enjoy being a Leaf? The kid grew up down the road.
Why
just let him enjoy this?
You know what? I don't understand why we make these players come out and like force
stop
them
interviewing players.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. If someone wants to come out and say, hey,
nobody gives a good answer.
If somebody wants to come out and say, hey, this is what happened, like for sure, somebody from the team can. If not, then it doesn't matter to me. I don't need to see it.
Interview the coach. Why not?
I don't need to hear it.
I really don't even care. Like, I don't sit around after games listening for post-game interviews. Ever.
Coach, assistant coaches, like people who like exactly the players are going to give you such a mellow,
they're media trained,
surface level.
They're media trained for this. They give you nothing. They're trained to give you nothing. And they will give you the same stupid answer unless they're Drew Doughty. Drew Doughty's great. He'll give you whatever answer he feels like telling you. But nobody else does. It's just, this is what happened, and we think we're going to get through it. Like, no shit, they're going to give you that answer. And then to get worked up about it, like, who cares, man? Like, this is what they're trained to do.
I think that Drew Doughty would be an interesting pickup if there was a way to.
He's hurt, though.
Which I know also.
Also, I don't want that contract. I feel way better about Mitch Marner's contract than I would.
No, I'm aware. I know. There would have to be a bit of a kicker to it.
Yeah, naturally.
But what I'm saying to you is,
it would be cool.
Be fun on this team.
He made it evident he didn't want to play here because it's a nightmare. And having him answering questions the way he does in the Toronto market would be a gong show.
It's just, it feels like a real hostile fan base, and that's, I don't know.
It is. It literally, you can't do anything right. Even when they win, there's something wrong. It's just like, Marner didn't score 3 points tonight. Why are we paying him so much?
You have the Leafs at the end of your gun. You know what I was happy about? Austin Matthews scored. He got me 5-10 points. Thank you.
Huge.
Thank you for the 5-10 points. Awesome.
They lost to a damn good team in Carolina. They are great to start this year. They lost.
Montreal.
Okay. Go ahead.
Montreal should have shown everybody in the league. Mm-hmm. You just need to get into the playoffs, and we'll worry about the rest later.
Yeah.
1 to 4. It doesn't matter.
Who cares if we get in?
Parity, so much parity across the league. There's so much levelness from team to team, especially those who make the playoffs, that it does not matter anymore where you get in. If you get in, you could win.
The Leafs are too good to not be a playoff team. I don't think you can look at this first little stretch and say they're not a playoff team. They're not going to do it. They still have the talent. The talent's going to figure it out. They're going to get in. They're going to get some bounces here and there. They're just not getting it right now. But hold on, when you get there, would you rather have this stretch now in October when the games really don't mean all that much, or would you rather in June when you're in the playoff run? I think I'd rather have it now.
But you saw it last year when they were in the playoff run.
They had it in June or whatever it was at that point.
And you didn't like it then?
No, exactly. I would rather go on this little spout now and figure everything out instead of trying to figure it out in round one again. Let's get the team hammered out before we get there. You're going to lose games. Every team loses games. Tampa lost a shit ton of games in a row last year. They fell apart at times. Like, it is what it is. Teams are going to lose. Teams are going to lose a lot. You're going to lose about, 40% of your games, even if you're good, I think.
Probably.
I think that's 600 is a decent win percentage. Either way, like, it happens. It is what it is. Who cares? Now, the one conversation that everything seems to be fucking leaning towards is the goddamn dress code. Who cares what they show up in? Like, it doesn't make a difference. I'm not going to show up in a suit and play better because I'm a professional. Like, I'm going to play the same way I play, whether I show up in a suit or I show up naked. Like, it does not matter. It's so ridiculous. And to say it's like, it's the reason why they're losing and they don't have the team unity. Like, who cares, man? Half of these guys are still showing up in suits. What's the difference?
Team, I didn't know that. Yeah, we could, because you don't dress the same. You no longer are a team. Mm-hmm. The cohesive unit is no longer there.
It's so stupid.
If anything, it brings like
people were chirping Austin Matthews for showing up in a purse. He did that when he was wearing a suit.
That's what everyone does, man.
Like, it doesn't make a difference. It's a thing. Welcome to Style 101, where things that are weird are a thing.
Must not be NBA fans, because NBA fans have gotten used to that, man. Russell Westbrook shows him whatever he's feeling that day.
The guy won an MVP, did he not? 1 year, yeah. Like, it.
Dude, he had more triple doubles than he set the record.
He has the record of triple doubles
in one season.
He dresses like a meathead. Who cares? The entire NBA makes a shit ton more money than the NHL, I might add. Way more entertaining group of players, and they show up wearing whatever they want. They don't dress like slobs. Half of them dress up in suit jackets anyways. Like, even like guys in the Leafs. Travis Dermott showed up in dress pants and a pink suit jacket with a t-shirt underneath. Okay. He still looks better than 90% of the people chirping him on a regular day.
There's a stronger sense of individuality there. You know, I get it why the suits were kind of tradition. Like, and at one point, don't forget, NBA had to go that way because of how their clothes were getting. Mm-hmm. But then they realized, you know, okay, if we can respect this line and then they'll respect that line, we'll get a sense back where we're not forced to wear suits. Mm-hmm. We're not forced to buy and, you know, have this dress code as adults.
No, it's just like, it's so funny too, because people talk about like, oh,
affect your play out there. Maybe you're thinking about like, you know, oh man, I shouldn't have worn my pink socks today because
who cares?
I would have scored that one.
People are talking about them like they're coming in like Walmart tracksuits. Like you're showing like William Nylander's showing up in an outfit that costs more than my car half the time. Like,
even
what are we doing?
You show up in a Walmart tracksuit.
It doesn't matter.
Okay,
it doesn't matter.
Right. Show up whatever you want. Be whoever you are. I don't give a shit.
Like, it's not a 400-pound tracksuit that I'm draining myself in the way in. Like,
who show up in a hot dog suit? I don't give a shit.
Man, like,
you're not paid the money to show up in a suit. You're paid the money to go out there and play.
The whole discourse around the dress code conversation is 100% the reason why hockey will never grow. It's because people are so latched on to like, this is what hockey is. You need to be a professional. You need to do things this way. And you have to stick to the true values of hockey. Do not change from the true values of hockey. You're going to be stuck with this shitty fourth place league until it dies.
Why?
It's all it is.
They feel like they own players and their personalities. You know, like why do we feel like
why do you give a shit what anyone does outside of the rink? When he steps on that ice, I care about how he plays. I would love to see anyone on that team show up and be the best version of themselves.
You do care a bit.
But it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect my life.
It will.
It's like if Austin Matthews shows up in a banana hammock tomorrow, I'm not going to care. Like, it's not going to change the way I watch the game. I'm not going to sit there angry because Austin Matthews showed up looking like an idiot.
All over the internet, saving as many photos as you can.
For sure. I'd be laughing the hell out of it.
Austin Matthews in a banana hammock?
But it doesn't matter. He's still going to go out and be Austin Matthews. They're still going to go out and be a team. Like, it doesn't matter how they all walk in. It matters how they are together and how they play on the ice. Right now, they're not playing well on the ice. That has nothing to do with how they show up to the game.
I think they've shown too, the more policies in place, the more rules that are set for them, the
Hmm.
more they struggle,
Hmm.
the more they're willing to resist. Right.
Like,
Like when you saw Babcock in there and it was, hey, we're doing it this way, and these are all the things, like these are rules that we have. There was this resistance afterwards for sure. They
mhm.
jumped in it, but they weren't truly the team that you thought they were going to be. And now
Yeah,
they have a way more laid back, way more new school kind of coach.
it's it's so funny
And
because people look
you,
at it as not professional because hey, you're not showing up the way Lou Lamoriello wants you. Like Lou Lamoriello was the worst. He speaks a lot to your point there. Like you can't have a beard, you can't have the long hair, you can't do any of that. And like the
right.
dress code is very Lou Lamoriello esque, but people act like oh, it's not professional. Like in a job to not show up in uniform. The difference is like if you're a construction worker and you don't have a uniform, like you don't have like your construction t-shirts like as a company, then you're showing up in like a $5 graphic tee and some ripped up jeans. These guys, if they don't have a dress code, they're showing up in an $800 t-shirt and $1,000 pair of pants with the $1,500 bag on the side of them. Like
There can be a
very
dress
different.
code. It could be a dress guide. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's things you can't do, but I think flat out saying that you have to look with
it's just
A,
embarrassing.
B, C is too much.
Yeah.
They're adults, they're respectful adults too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you've raised them so
Hey,
much. This is not the hockeys of the 70s and 80s where there was smoking in the change rooms
no,
and just drinking the
no,
whole game
so
long. These
different.
guys are literally professionals. They know, that if they do certain things, they'll find success.
There's an entire group of hockey fans that just don't want the game to go past what it is. They're just content with it being the fourth best sport. Actually, it's not
Me
even
too.
honestly, hockey is one of the craziest sports you'll ever watch. It's an
Hockey,
unreal sport.
I don't know
Like
if you could put it fourth best.
no,
Maybe
not the
lower.
sport itself. The sport itself, honestly, could be one of the wildest sports you play. I would put it number one half the time. The league is fourth, battling for fifth with the MLS in North America. Like it's bad. It's a terrible league because the group of fans that watch the league of the NHL are terrible. Just terrible. Like
Well,
they refuse to adapt and let the sport grow.
they've adapted
They
to a
have.
way of a more, but I meant in
They
a more
adapted to
like
the way from the
safe,
70s where it's
right, but
just,
a safe manner, more of a concern about players, which you need to, because every organization did,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that takes away, the fans that are there for the fights, that
Mm-hmm.
takes them away. If you're only going to see 10 fights throughout one season from one guy, that's going to take like a whole bunch of people away, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Sure.
those types of things where you now have the fan that's just there for the huge hits, for the like the Scott Stevens style hits that would all be penalties now, and that would all be game
Absolutely.
misconducts, and that would all be
Absolutely.
suspensions, like all those
I'm
things.
I'm all here for the fights. I enjoy watching two people fight. I
It's
watch the
fucking
UFC
two.
because it's fun. It's
It's
entertaining.
two grown men who want to get into a fight.
There's
Go
legitimate
do it.
anger there and they
I
want to
wouldn't
throw hands.
I wouldn't jump in the way in a bar. I wouldn't
No.
jump in the way in a train station. I wouldn't
No.
jump in the way if it was at some preschool get together where the parents are just yipping at each other. I wouldn't do it at all.
It's fun. It's fun. Don't get me
Do
wrong.
your thing. You're an adult. If you want to
But
fight,
you also
you
need to
fight.
understand why fighting's kind of going away a little bit. Like brain trauma is a legitimate thing.
It
I've
is.
I've had 7 concussions and I can't remember half my life. Like it's a legitimate thing. Like it's not something to joke about. I'm not serious. Like I'm very minor. It's whatever. It's just some memory issues. These guys get hit day after day after day. And if you're fighting every game, you get an 82 fights in a year, your brain's mangled. Just mangled. Like it's one of the things they need to protect just these human beings because they have a life outside of the thing that you watch on your TV.
One of the craziest things I remember Dan Carcillo after like he gave an interview, I think within the last 5 years, let's say, and it was about the fact like at he would rather take his name off the Stanley Cup and have back all those years
Yeah.
of that brain trauma that he's now going through, and that
Yep.
all the the headaches, all the brain fog, all the haziness, the memory issues, like you're saying, like he would rather take his name off and get all that back and have a great brain. Like he won't even let his kids play
No.
because it's that important, right? And like
Yeah. Look at Jimmy Hayes.
I totally understand, right? Yeah, that's crazy.
Jimmy Hayes is a big one, right? Like the brain trauma and the injuries and everything led to his addiction, and that's ultimately what caused his death. And like it's a legitimate thing they need to look out for. So when they're trying to grow the game into something that is a little healthier for the players, but still really fucking entertaining. Like I love watching Connor McDavid zip around and just undress guys and do stuff like that. That's so cool. I don't need people slashing and throwing elbows and chests and chins and doing stuff like that. Like, no.
But also, man, like part of growing the game, one thing I was thinking was one of the things that I love most about the Olympics is how big that rink is and how much more room there is to move for these guys.
Yeah.
And I would actually like to see the NHL adapt that kind of style and have more room for these guys because they're so fast. They get
everyone's fast. There's not that many slow hockey players.
Like we had a debate on this podcast about Ilya McKay.
Yeah, exactly.
Beating
a
Connor
fourth liner. Realistically,
but the speed. You would never see that.
You don't have your.
If Colton Moore was still on this team, taking off against Connor McDavid.
You weren't even close. You don't have your John Scotts anymore. Like you have to be able to play the game of hockey, plain and simple. So like the game is fast. If you want, you're gonna need to open it up. It makes sense. It's just we went off on a serious tangent here, but like I don't understand why people just like they love the game for what it is and they won't let it grow. Like anything in life, you need to be able to grow in every aspect of life.
I'm about tradition, but there's also making it fun, and you have to make it fun for the next generation. You have to figure out what it is that they, and even still the NHL, like they made pads smaller to make scoring a little more easier because they noticed games are pretty low. Right. Instead of shootouts, they came up with 3-on-3 overtime, which is the most exciting thing to come in.
Unbelievable. It's great. And then they kill it with a shootout.
Just little things for sure, and they're still going, but they realize, okay, now that we've gone away from fights, scoring is going to be the next most entertaining thing. We need more of that in the league. How are we going to do that?
And creating a brand for your players. You will fall in love with the sport of hockey if you fall in love with the person that's playing.
For sure. That's why there's more.
I love Austin Matthews' brand. He's great.
All these YouTube things and all of these behind the scenes that are giving these players identities now, and they're not just somebody who puts the puck in the back of the net. They're people.
I'm trying to think of just like anyone, because I know one example, but I really don't want to use it because it turned into a shitbag. But there's a player that played for the Dodgers this year that did a very good job of advocating for the game and like creating his own brand. And like there's a lot of baseball players that do it, but like things like that where you start watching their content for content. And then you kind of start to fall in love with the game of baseball because you're like, you know what, this guy plays, let's watch and see what happens. You can have that in the NHL if you let these players be more personable. Show up dressed in a t-shirt and track pants for like here. Look like me.
Yeah, there's even some like NHL borderline players who have YouTube channels that show you the the call ups, the send downs, the traveling, hey, I'm going and playing over in Sweden now, like those types of things. Like and it just like gives them a sense of identity completely.
Roberto Luongo is a good one because like he's hilarious on Twitter. Yeah. And like you're kind of you jump on the Roberto Luongo train, you start watching them because it's fun. You need stuff like that. I don't want these robots in suits walking in here doing absolutely nothing and not being enjoyable to watch out off the ice. Like it's painful. I hate it. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. They're just some Leaf fans are just painful.
I just want to complain about everything.
I don't know how else to go with that. The Chicago Blackhawks. The verdict kind of came down today. I haven't fully read it, so I'm a little uneducated on it, but I know they got fined $2 million.
Yes.
And I know
the situation, obviously.
Obviously. If I'm not going to go through it because if you haven't heard it yet, just look it up. It's everywhere. Stan Bowman stepped down. And I know a couple other people stepped down, but I didn't bother looking up their names because they're not as important because there's comebacks. I really don't know what I want to say about all this. I just figured we kind of mention it. Good on Stan Bowman, I guess, for stepping down if it was on his own accords.
I don't know. Yeah.
This is a shit situation.
It just kind of screams guilty party at some point, from what my readings of it is, a lot of people knew what was going on. A lot of people,
like everybody in the organization knew. There's a guy that's the GM of the Canadians right now that knew.
Yeah. The guy that's the Winnipeg Jets. Is that who you're talking about? The GM of the Winnipeg Jets? No.
Him too? No. Mark Bergevin was a part of that organization.
No, maybe he's assistant GM, but I know that the year after the Stanley Cup, when he was with them in 2010, GM, he left. Joe Quenneville has been
Joel
interviewed
Quenneville.
now
Yep.
because he was coach. Like apparently,
There's a
a lot
long
of
list of
people
guys
knew.
that should probably do what Stan
A
Bowman did
lot of
today.
people did nothing. Yeah, but and it doesn't seem like they're just stopping because they've got one. It kind of seems like they're going for a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what a thing to add to an already difficult season. And
Yeah.
it's just you're
Like,
gonna find. I think this is gonna be one of those cases that you look back and there's gonna be like this will be a real turning point for the NHL
sure, you
and
hope.
how they deal with things.
You really hope.
Well, I just the way that they're now kind of getting this publicity on it, like it's different than before.
This is bad.
It's different. It's
There's like
different
the
than what it
whole
was in
all
2010.
publicity is good publicity. This is not
No.
good publicity. You don't
No,
want this.
that's changed now. The way that we are as a demographic, the way that we are on social media, it could actually ruin you depending on what you say or do, right? It is if you and I go off on a tangent, we say something that a whole group of people have no agreement with and they're just bad about it, we could be done. That'd be it.
Yeah.
Because people have already made up their mind. Like
it is who we are now, regardless.
Absolutely.
Like even if it's just one thing we said and it just came off wrong, and it is who you are.
Here, Stan Bowman now he took that opportunity away from people because any opportunity they had, he would have to get up there and he would have to say something. And there's still going to be questioning because there's still some players from that 2010 team that are
on the team,
are kicking around. Yeah. That are still there. So
two of the biggest ones
who are also in COVID protocol.
Yep. It's just there's going to be a lot more to come. I don't really think we're at a point where we can talk about it realistically.
No, but but that was kind of a big, to me, like almost a big flag. Like this is going to be bad. This is not near the end. If you're GM and president, like because he's acted as both, he's stepping down. And he's saying like, he's
not going to make it through this. Yep.
This is best through the organization. That kind of means that you were backed into a corner and this was your best move out, without saying you're wrong, you're kind of saying you're wrong. So
yeah, it's there's going to be a lot more. I don't think this is the end of this story. There's
just get it right. That's what everybody's hoping for right now. You're kind of all eyes are on you, right? All eyes are on this. A lot of I would say even people who aren't involved in hockey, even people who aren't involved in the NHL, this is still something that they're going to see, and this is still something they're going to have an opinion on.
So talking about growing the game, this is something you need to handle right if you're going to try and grow the sport.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you butcher this, there's going to be a lot of people that are just done.
Talking about we were talking about these players becoming actual people. Like this is part of it. Treat them like a human being. Then if there was wrongdoing. Yep. You can't just brush it under and move on. So
they put out a big ass letter. If you want me to read it, I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Do you want to read it?
I'll go through. I'm not much of a reader.
Is there any words that you might stumble through? Do you want me to?
Probably, okay. But we can look them up. So they put it on their website, and basically it says a letter to our fans, partners, and community. The Blackhawks are more than just a hockey team. We are a community that is built upon the trust and support of our fans, players, employees, and partners. That trust was shaken when disturbing allegations recently came to light about our handling of sexual misconduct that occurred 11 years ago. When we learned of these detailed allegations as part of recent public reports, our ownership initiated an independent investigation led by the firm Jenner and Block to determine what occurred and how our organization responded. Now, on that, it's their investigation that did this. So they hired people to investigate. So like the NHL hasn't done anything yet. Nobody else has really investigated this. It's just their own personal investigation. So there's probably more investigations to come after.
Does that also not, depending on who's running it, like, hey, we're going to give you this. We're going to try to keep you away from that. Because now it's all just.
When you hire your own firm to investigate yourself, it's kind of like, okay, here's what we want you to see. There's probably more behind the curtain.
From me
right
now, it really questions what's going on.
So,
because every move is now.
It says Jenner and Block has delivered their findings to the organization, and the report can be read in full here. There's a link, and then it says content warning. The report contains graphic descriptions that some may find upsetting or offensive. I could link the report in the description, maybe, if you want to read it. The report details very troubling events that occurred in 2010 and outlines the Blackhawks' knowledge and treatment of those events at the time.
Just so you know, it's 107 pages.
Is it actually?
I just opened it, yeah.
Wow. It is clear that the 107 pages, sorry, 107 pages in that report. Holy shit. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I kind of just scrolled through.
I kind of just
Yeah, and it says like, I'm just kind of reading it. It's like, for context, we provided detailed recitation of the 2010 NHL playoffs. So like they kind of tell you what's going on around the same time. They have pictures actually of like, the Stanley Cup at Wrigley Field in Chicago, where Aldridge is identified with a green circle. So the man that they've accused.
Okay.
Like, so like, pictures, like a lot of the, like, yeah, some of the pages are just pictures, but at the same time, like,
so,
and then, yeah, like, okay.
Obviously
so
the player hasn't
107 been full.
Yeah. The player hasn't been named.
There's actually two players.
Two players. Sorry.
Two players have now been named. Yeah.
So carrying on here, it is clear the organization and its executives at the time did not live up to our standards and values in handling these disturbing incidents, which is, I guess it's good you admitted that, like, hey, you fucked up here, but you didn't have a choice. We deeply regret the harm caused to John Doe and the other individuals who were affected and the failure to promptly respond. As an organization, we extend our profound apologies to the individuals who suffered from these experiences. We must and will do better. What we do off the ice is equally as important as anything we do on it. Our ownership and leadership teams are committed to ensuring that the Blackhawks adhere to the highest ethical, professional, and athletic standards. We will not tolerate behavior that is, oh, here we go. This is where we come across words. Antithetical? You know the description of the word antithetical?
Okay. I lost where we were. I was reading the report.
We will not tolerate behavior that is antithetical to our values from any member of the organization, nor will we accept the type of inaction that allows such issues to continue unchecked. I don't know what antithetical means. Sorry. There's somebody that like understands English listening to this going, this guy's a fucking idiot. Yeah, you're right. I
knew where you were.
Right.
I accidentally clicked on the link and I lost where we were.
It's
so I'm trying to...
2 paragraphs after the link.
Okay. All right, you keep going.
Since 2010, we have implemented numerous positive changes throughout our organization, especially over the past year. What have they done? Including more clearly defining organizational structure alongside the hiring of new personnel who demonstrate our values and bring the right subject matter expertise in areas of compliance, human resources, and mental health and well-being. That whole paragraph is a load of bullshit. Like, you hired new people because you had to, because the other people left for different jobs. Like, you didn't hire people because you thought these guys sucked.
Oh, wow. Sorry. Oh my gosh. I am reading this. It's
bad.
Fucking intense. I do want to read it. They give you recounts of, page 36 is an interesting one. I'll give you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have policies, procedures, and practices in place to ensure the safety and well-being of our employees, including policies that require leaders to report any suspected or actual harassment reported to them or which they observe, as well as this is all one sentence, as well as processes to appropriately handle and investigate any reports of misconduct of any type by employees or third parties. That's great that you have policies, but you don't adhere to them. Like, this is all just kind of verbal diarrhea. After they could have stopped like 2 paragraphs ago, and I think I would have respected it. Mm-hmm. At this point, we're kind of hitting like, we should be doing this, and we're going to do this, and look at what we've done. Like, don't tell me what you've done, because your organization has been shit now. Like, don't tell me, oh, in the past we've implemented this. Like, fuck off. Tell me what you're going to do for the future, because you haven't done it right. We have reviewed and modernized our employee handbook to ensure best practices, including our anti-harassment discrimination and retaliation policies. So that's what they're doing for the future. They've reviewed the handbook. It's good. Okay. That's it. That's the only thing they say about what they're going to do.
This is nuts.
It's no like call that we're going to change this or we're going to implement this. No. We've reviewed and modernized our employee handbook to ensure best practices, including our anti-harassment, discrimination, and retaliation policies. That's all you're going to do. That'll be the entire Blackhawks organization participates in mandatory annual anti-harassment and anti-discrimination trainings. And as part of that, we clearly communicated several mechanisms for reporting of concerns, including internal and third-party options, such as the NHL's anonymous hotline operated by Deloitte. I think that's how you say that.
Okay.
We believe these actions underscore and solidify our commitment to ensuring that the failures of the past will not be repeated. We intend to win championships without ever compromising our integrity. Don't include that line. Like, this does nothing to do with hockey. Just stop. To our fans, employees, players, partners, sponsors, and the entire Blackhawks community, Thank you for standing by us as we move forward. We are committed to continuing to earn your trust and support both on and off the ice. They could have taken out, leave that last paragraph because I think that's, you need that. But they could have taken out what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. They could have taken out the middle 5 paragraphs of that, and I would have respected what that entire apology meant. But they started being like, well, you shouldn't be too upset because we did this and this and this and this. And like, that's garbage because your organization is involved in this for a reason. And you had those policies in place. So don't give me that. That's just terrible. Yeah, so that's the Blackhawk. If you want to read the report, I'll link it in the description.
There's so much. I feel like I could sit here for just like hours. Yeah. This is like crazy.
It is 107 pages long.
But a lot of that's like there's pictures.
There's a title page. There's a table of contents.
It's not actually 107. The juicy stuff's in the middle.
The executive summary is like long. Oh my god. No. Okay. Yeah, I'll link it in the description. If anyone listening does want to read it, it's probably
BANANAS.
Yeah. So that's that. It's crazy. I don't really have anything else I want to say on it. I don't think my opinion matters, honestly. Realistically, like it was a terrible thing to do, and I hope they face repercussions for it. But
get it fucking right. No big letter. Get it right.
Yeah. Fix yourself. Do what you need to do. Like plain and simple. Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of hockey. We don't really have anything else to talk about. Baseball.
Teams are losing. Teams are winning.
Teams are all over the map. Who knows? Baseball.
Does it start tonight?
I don't know. I don't even care.
Why?
I'm so frustrated with this.
Just hop out at the end.
I'm still like half paying attention to it. I've barely watched this playoffs. I've just been like hurt.
There's still a Canadian in this playoff.
Is there?
Freddie Free.
Oh.
Is an honor.
Canadian-ish.
Canadian.
He's Canadian-ish.
He's Canadian-ish.
Man, like I don't like either team. I think the Braves fans are racist and they refuse to admit it. And obviously I don't like the Astros. And I'm like, I didn't like the Astros before they cheated. We have video evidence of me talking about how much I hated the Astros before the cheating scandal even came out. I went back and watched it not that long ago when we were talking about it, because I remember it was back when we did the baseball podcast with you and Nick. Mm-hmm. And I was talking about how much I don't like the Astros. And you're like, how do you not like the Astros? They're such likable guys, both of you. And I'm like, I just can't stand them. I don't like any of them. And here they are after cheating back again because they're great baseball players.
At the time, they weren't that bad.
I know, and I hated them then.
When I thought about it, like George Springer, who is now Jay, I still liked him then. There was
I didn't really like George Springer before he got here.
There was Zach Greinke, who I think is like the most baseball player in the fucking world. That dude is just a giant troll for everybody.
Yep. I never liked Jose Altuve.
No, I was not a big Altuve fan.
I was never a fan of Alex Bregman's attitude. I thought it was hilarious.
I do like Yuli. Yuli Gurriel is funny. I think
he did that thing to you, Darvish, too, and I'm like, man, you suck. You're a terrible person.
I know he did that, and that was bad. But
and then I've never liked Carlos Correa. I said that in our previous videos. I do not like Carlos Correa.
I'd want him on my team.
I don't. I don't want anything to do with him.
But when he wins World Series MVP,
that's fine. No, he's not winning it. Fucking what's his name there? Jordan. Jordan is running away with the MVP right now. That guy's hitting like 560 with a handful of home runs, like just insane numbers.
I know, but
yeah, maybe he has a big round and wins it. But like,
what scares me?
Jesus. Kyle Tucker too. Kyle Tucker's gross.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the rosters. They're finally released them.
Mm-hmm.
Braves have 3 starting pitchers, and the rest are bullpen guys.
This is what we've come to.
The 3 starting pitchers are Charlie Morton, Max,
Tyler Anderson.
Is he? I think so. And Max Fried.
Max Fried. Yeah. Might not be Tyler Anderson.
So
Ian Anderson. I don't know. Whatever his name is, Anderson.
Let me see.
Ian something.
I know that it was 3, and
that's nuts. This is what we've come to. This is what the Rays have done to the league.
I know that now we're just gonna have
the Dodgers had Max Scherzer pitching out of the bullpen. This is what the Rays have done to the league.
At any point, well, I mean, I think the Max Scherzer pitching out of the bullpen was from the Giants taking Madison Bumgarner and saying
in the
"Yeah, you're gonna pitch every
finals,
fucking
that
minute."
made
Yeah,
sense.
I know.
Like going in, he just pitched every 3 days. I'm like, that's fine. Don't mess him around and throw him in the bullpen. You fucked his arm.
You know what though, man? The Dodgers, they did so much for their starting pitching that they kind of forgot about the bullpen, and that's
Yeah.
where they really look. Like Kenley Jansen is not feared anymore. I can't.
No, he's not that good.
I'm not gonna believe that anymore. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Shout out to the
But
Braves for once again taking down the
Yeah.
Los Angeles Dodgers. Man, that
no,
team.
it is Ian Anderson. Good job.
Ian Anderson.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Dodgers have been the best team in baseball for 10 years, at least. I would think. It feels like 10, anyways. And they've got one championship to show.
Dude, did you know Jesse Chavez is on the?
Yeah, he
Braves
started
roster?
a game for the Braves.
That's amazing. Drew
Good job.
Smiley,
It's a joke.
Chris Martin.
I don't understand how the Dodgers can be so good but so bad in the playoffs. I know they're missing Max Muncy
You
and
know what though, man? Like
Clayton
if
Kershaw.
If you look at Atlanta is so good hitting the ball. Like they are a team that I think underratedly has a really great 1-9. You know, especially with Darno like being a catcher who can hit, and
Yeah.
he hits kind of clutch as well.
Mhm.
You have Adam Duvall who, fuck me,
Yeah.
you know how many home runs did he hit? Jesus,
Man, Jock Peters. Like
Jock, like
Eddie
Jock Tober,
Rosario apparently is an all-star. Oh, like
and what did I say? What did I say the last podcast? I said Ozzy Albies is like the heart of that team, and sure enough, every time that they needed a hit or someone on base, it was him. He started some sort of rally, and he was there. Like they all do it, man. But I think they just,
team.
you know, there's another team across the way that is the same kind of way, and they got like a us against everybody mentality.
They don't have the pitching.
They got better pitching than the three that are.
I trust
on
Charlie
Atlanta.
Morton more than anyone in that Astros rotation right now. McCullers is still out, is he not? Actually, do you have the Astros lineup or roster in front of you?
I did. Let me just pull it back up here.
Because like I'm trying to think of who starts for the Astros, and like no one scares me as much as Max Fried and Charlie Morton. Luis Garcia or whatever his name is, something like that. The rookie kid. The rookie
they've been
kid.
pretty dynamite though, yeah.
Like it's just I don't know, man. They're not names that I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, that guy's gonna come in and shut it down. I just
Framber Valdez.
I know, like Framber had a great start.
Yeah.
But I don't
Jose, what's this guy's name?
Alvarado?
Urquidy?
Oh, Urquidy.
Urquidy? Yeah.
Urquidy?
Zach Greinke just doing
Zach Greinke hasn't even he had one start and he was terrible.
I know. But remember they got Kendall Graveman, who's been
their bullpen's good.
Yeah.
They have a decent pitching staff, but their starters are
Jake Odorizzi, that's right, who was supposed to be a starter for them. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Who are you taking in that series? Astros or Braves?
Unfortunately, I have to take the Astros again. Yeah.
I'd like to take COVID if that's possible. Like if we could just shut this thing down.
No,
I'm
man,
really cheering for a fifth wave is what's happening here.
Astros are just fuck, man, they're so good. Especially last series too, like Boston, they really took it to Boston. I get it, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, but like the Dodgers didn't have Max Muncy. The Dodgers have
but
fucking awful Cody Bellinger, like so bad.
You know, home run, big
I don't
one.
give a shit. He's so bad. He looks
somebody made
out there. He looks
really good
every podcast.
Somebody made a really good comparison. They were saying like, oh, well, the Dodgers have injuries. Okay, well, the Dodgers lost Max Muncy. Obviously, he's one of their best players. The Braves lost Ronald Acuna.
Right.
Like, this team's missing Ronald Acuna. Then it's like, the Dodgers lost Clayton Kershaw. The Braves lost Mike Soroka, who was easily their best pitcher.
The Dodgers
it's not even close.
Picked up Max Scherzer. They also had Walker Buehler already. They had Julio.
Yeah, like the injury thing, it's like, okay, yeah, they had some injuries. The Braves had some injuries themselves. Like they're not injury related, but they lost Marcelo Zuna, who was a big part of this offense.
The Braves had some players step up.
Right. I don't know, man. I think the Braves stand a good chance in this one. I don't want to see either team win, but if I had to pick one, I'd much rather see the Braves.
Oh, for sure. I would love to see it, and I'd love to be wrong, especially, because I would never pick the Astros, I think, up until this point.
Yep.
Coming into this season. But they just, I don't know, I saw that roster, and especially to me, Will Smith does not give me much confidence on that as a closer. Yeah, he has for sure some shut down shit, and then he's got other stuff where he's just like they're slowing it down with the R2 button. You know, they can see it from a mile away, and it just looks like a big, huge beach ball. So it's so hit and miss, and
you never know. I really don't know with this one.
Losing your star too is eventually going to catch up with you as well.
You'd think,
right? Like
you would think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but
you would like you can't lose a guy as good as Ronald Acuna.
No, yeah,
like I don't know. Hey, they do it. Good for them. That's insane.
Both teams have benched. Like this will be, I think, you're going to see a bunch of like 8-6 games. Just see a bunch of like huge, like 3 guys got home runs in that game. 5 guys got like. You'll see a bunch of those because these guys can all hit. And you're right, pitching is definitely a little.
It's interesting,
a little suspect.
Dicey.
But yeah, just when you're the Houston Astros and you walk in with that confidence that you do.
Yeah,
which they always do. It's almost like you thought they cheated last year, won it, and came back this year. Like they kind of look like the same team.
Is it time to forgive the Astros? A lot of people have said it.
I mean, like I enjoy. It's not.
I'm not ready to do it. I'm not ready to like. There's so many guys on that team I don't like.
The thing is, though, like don't forget it. Like. Every time Jose Altuve steps up, we'll boo for sure.
Alex Bregman,
cool with that.
Instant. Carlos Correa, I'm gonna boo him every time.
Absolutely, but I don't.
Those 3 guys, I still I don't have any respect for them.
I don't need to hold against them.
Maybe I'm not gonna boo for the whole team, and I don't have the animosity I did 2 years ago, but I don't have any respect for that team. I don't wish them well. I'm not sitting here like, oh, they've made up for it. Like, what the fuck have they done?
You have one of their guys as well, right? Like
sure,
the Jays have one. Sure, guys, so
I don't think he deserves to win either. I love him. I love him as a Blue Jay. I don't respect him for what he did. I love him as a player, and I'm so happy he's out there when he is. I don't respect him for what he did.
For sure.
I don't respect Carlos Correa. I don't respect Josh Reddick. I don't respect Jose Altuve. I don't respect half the guys that were on that team. I don't respect him. I don't respect Justin Verlander. He was on that team.
Yeah.
I don't respect that team. It is what it is. I'm over the fact that they cheated. I'm like, yeah, they cheated. It's in the past now. But I don't want them to win. It's not a team I want to see succeed because they're dirtbags for what they did. They don't deserve to win ever again, that group. And
they're going to.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing.
I really hope the Braves win because then the Blue Jays would have went undefeated against the World Series champion.
I would love to see Freddie Freeman lifting that trophy.
The Jays went, I think it was 5-0 against the Braves this year. 5-0 or 6-0 against the Braves this year.
You know what? They went.
So if the Braves win, we are the honorary World Series champion.
I think you're
the way I see it.
For sure.
Right? There's no other way to look at that. Let's talk about football for a minute. First and foremost, did you see Tom Brady's 600 touchdown pass?
Of course I did.
Naturally, as a Brady guy. Did you see what Mike Evans did with the ball?
No. I think I was too excited about the.
Yeah. So Mike Evans, great play on back-to-back plays, like in coverage, getting absolutely mauled, makes ridiculous catches on back-to-back plays. Earned that touchdown. Good job, Mike Evans. Mike Evans didn't realize it was Tom Brady's 600 touchdown pass. So Mike Evans took that ball, went to the crowd and handed it to a fan like, yeah, man, celebrate with us. Here's a ball. Well, it was Tom Brady's 600 touchdown pass.
He's going to want that ball back.
Naturally, Tom Brady wanted that ball back. So naturally, like every big moment in any sports history, they made a deal for it. I'm trying to see if I can find.
It's the kid, right?
It's a full-grown ass man.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought it was the kid because he has a part where he like meets a kid in the tunnel. So they had to make a deal with this guy. The deal, this was tweeted out from Darren Rovell. The deal has been made with the Bucs fan who gave up the Brady ball. He will receive 2 signed jerseys and a helmet from Tom, a signed Mike Evans jersey and his game cleats, $1,000 credit to the Bucs team store, and 2 season tickets for the remainder of this season and next. Way to go, Mike Evans. Talk about holding that ball ransom. Oh my God, that's the most expensive ball I think anybody's ever paid.
Insane. For. Like, what do you think? Like, think about it. I saw signed Tom Brady jerseys that were like on other websites going for like $1,000.
But if you
there's $2,000 worth of jerseys.
but he's keeping it. Like he'll
Right.
keep those jerseys, the
Naturally, but
helmets.
like just
He's a
in terms
tailgate
of
guy.
value. So you're looking at $2,000 of jerseys from Tom. A helmet probably goes for more than a jersey, I would assume. So let's say 1,500.
Yeah, I think the game worn cleats is my favorite part.
Yeah, so
Mike Evans,
1,500.
give me your
So we're
cleats,
looking at $3,500 worth of memorabilia from Tom Brady. Mike Evans jersey probably only go for what, 500, 600. So let's just put us up to an even $4,000. And then his cleats, I don't really know. They're not signed, I don't think. So let's just say $400.
Dude, they're still game worn cleats.
We're up to like $4,300. So
And-
$1,000 credit is.
Hang on. And those things are gonna get more money over time.
Yep, they're gonna appreciate. So then $1,000 credits. So you're at $5,000 worth of value, and then Bucks season tickets, $2 season tickets
for not only this year but next
season too.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll just look it up here. I don't know what season tickets cost because I've never had to look into football season tickets.
Can you imagine getting Buffalo season tickets? Having to go down there every single
my
week?
god, it'd be fun. Let's see here.
Be costly.
I don't know how to do this. This is the most awkward. Hey, what do you call it? Tampa Bay, fix your seasons, dude. I cannot figure this out.
Let's say
There we go. Season tickets, season pass. Oh, this is benefits.
let's say 10. You think more than 10?
Probably 10,000, right? I don't know. I like
15?
so Jay's season
Sorry.
tickets for 500 level seats are like I think they're $7,500.
Okay.
So let's say let's say they're around that. That's $15,000 for next season and a little bit less for this season because they're already 7 games in. So
I'd say all in all, you paid
you're
about
looking at like almost 30 grand in
more, but yeah,
total memorabilia. That's gonna appreciate because
Perfect.
all the jerseys and cleats and everything.
I love
Once
it.
Tom Brady retires, both those jerseys are gonna be priceless
I love it.
for a ball.
All about it. Good
Thank
job,
you,
Mike
Mike
Evans.
Evans.
Thank you for giving away the ball. How do you not know
Oh,
that
man.
too? You know, like your team's
Like,
achievement.
come on, dude. You can't tell me you didn't know about Tom Brady. He's your teammate.
Oh, I didn't know it was a 600. Oops. That's funny. That's good shit.
That's so funny. Poor Mike. I have a question for you. What the hell is wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Oh my god, he looks human. He
Dude,
looks very human.
Pat Mahomes is like, he's a quarterback, just an average quarterback.
I think people are now just saying, you know what, run the ball,
Mhm.
and we're just gonna play. We're gonna
Just
play
cover
for the throw.
the pass. Because without
gonna
Clyde
play for the
Edwards-Helaire
throw,
too,
yeah.
what are you gonna do to us?
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna have our big men just try to beat you. I think 4 in the box,
Yeah.
if that. Maybe sometimes we'll blitz and get to you, but yeah, the offensive line doesn't look like it's changed much. And it's almost like everyone knows what you're doing. It's kind of the way I thought about with Sheldon Keefe too, like how it just seems like teams know exactly what
Yeah.
you're going to do. And
Your
kinda
game
need to
plan is
adjust.
very evident.
Yeah,
Like,
and they need a big shakeup on that side of the ball. Like it's kind of stayed the same. I think they realize now losing Sammy Watkins was huge to that side. Like, you know, you need somebody a better 2 than you have.
They,
You know, like you need to have more than just, you know,
They don't have
insert
enough.
player here.
they
No,
don't have. They have one of the top 5 wide receivers in the game,
They have the best tight end. in
and
the league.
the best tight end. The best
Best
tight
tight
end.
end.
Not my
Best tight
favorite
end.
tight end, but the best tight end in the game.
The best.
And like, it's not close. So yeah, you have 2 of the biggest weapons you could possibly have. But who do
And
you have
Patrick
outside
Mahomes,
of that?
man. Patrick Mahomes
Patrick
is the biggest
Mahomes.
weapon. He doesn't
Patrick Mahomes is Matt Stafford with a good receiving core.
He doesn't want to run either. You shouldn't make him run. Don't make him move. He wants to throw it. He's going to be better at throwing it. I just think
Hey.
they need to.
When they lose with gusto.
They do.
They lose to the Tennessee Titans 27-3.
They got
They lose to the
smacked.
Bills 38-20, and I think they were getting slaughtered at one point in that game.
Yeah.
Is that the Rams that they lost to, or the Raiders? They lost to the Raiders 30-24.
Big division matchup.
They had that ridiculous comeback against them from the Ravens in week 2. Like, they were walking away with that game, and Lamar Jackson
Yeah.
said no, thank you.
Yep.
They squeaked out a win against Cleveland in week 1.
They have the same record as New England Patriots do.
Yeah.
and having completely different seasons.
Yeah.
This is a win.
Patriots fans are pumped. Like, hey, look at us.
Win. Look at Mac Jones. Wow,
Yeah.
this is fucking amazing. And everyone's like, wow, look at Patrick Mahomes. That's
Kansas City Chiefs are on fire. Like their organization's on fire. It's not good.
Nope.
I don't know what you
really
do.
Struggling. Defensive side of the ball too has been really like they've left a lot of people open. Yeah, I don't know. They gotta. The good thing about the NFL is that players get cut all the time, and so like in Kansas City is one of those places that can bring in somebody just for the simple fact of like, hey, it's Patrick Mahomes. Right? Like, I think if Houston gets in the idea of trading players, like if Deshaun Watson goes, then I would look to see Brandon Cooks and say, hey.
They could do that now, realistically.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Like,
I don't think they need to wait for it. I don't think Deshaun's coming back.
No, but I mean, like, because the final week of trade deadline is this week. Yeah, I think so.
Well, even if he doesn't get traded, I don't think he's playing. So
he won't.
I think they're a few weeks out. I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was like this.
I think it's later. I thought
it was week 8 or something. I thought it was early. NFL always shocks me.
I think they pushed it, but
pushed it.
I can look it up. Pushed. NFL.
Yeah, no, I love that the Kansas City looks human.
Deadline.
I think that it'll be Buffalo. That's a lot better than they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think that.
Oh, wow. Good job. It's November 2nd.
Yeah. Told you, man.
2 weeks.
It always shocks you. Yeah.
2 weeks, I guess. But yeah, that's wow. That's so early.
Yeah. I think even the Chargers. The Chargers are one of those interesting teams that can just.
There's some crazy. It's going to be a tough year to win the Super Bowl. Like maybe the Bucs. I don't know. Once the Bucs get there, they're kind of like they're still the Bucs. They got an unbelievable defense. They have Tom Brady, and they have a loaded offense. Like
right,
you get Gronk back too. They're loaded.
They're tough to beat.
Like the Chargers are good. They're not loaded like the Bucs are. Like I don't know who else in the NFC is also like that, but that's gonna be interesting. How long have we been going here? Do you know?
A good amount of time. I think we're pretty solid for.
We don't need any filler.
Episode? No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think we're pretty good.
You know, would you rather?
Could we save it?
We could save it. We could always save it. The website never goes away.
No. Okay.
We
could save it because we can't really ask.
We'll stick a
Red Sox or a Yankee because it's like.
Pretty easy.
They're both out. They're both sitting.
I'd still rather be a Red Sox. At least they.
Oh, absolutely, always.
At least they won.
We did.
At least they won a game in the postseason. They did better than the same amount of postseason wins as the Blue Jays.
Made it farther than Tampa Bay. True team.
Yeah. So that's it. Thank you for listening. I was going to say, as always, it's not as always anymore. It's getting real confusing to do these outros. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our new YouTube channel, the BnB Podcast. We will have all of our.
Once I figure out how to connect that,
I'll have everything linked in the description. But you can follow both of us on Twitter at BnB_Brandon and BnB_Brand.
Like a little,
I'm gonna redo the overlay.
We get a little graphic maybe when we're talking.
Yeah,
we get like a little BnB graphic.
Sure, why not?
Say our Twitter name all the time.
Yeah, I'll have a little graphic. And then our podcast account is BnB Pod.
Okay.
On Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to check out theasports.com for all our merch and more content. Hopefully we have more content coming because we're getting a little more consistent. It took us 3 extra days than they did the last podcast, but we got another one out. And
we're here.
Hey, we're here again. We'll hopefully see you guys again next week. Cheers.